So we select sum to number and we copy over the values. We remember to put in the target, which is the current balance, and then we will put in the dates and the narrative to keep track. Click on next and on calculate. And here we have the result. Now, looking at this, can we determine which of these various solutions is the actual one? Well, if we make the assumption that the open items will not include any receipts, then the only solution is solution 2. So if you feel comfortable making that assumption, you probably have your answer. But we will now look at how we can get more sure about that. So here we are with those same input numbers, but this time we're going to try doing a sum to 0 to find the ones that do net out, and for the moment we will select a top grouping. So that will give us the maximal subset that matches out to 0. The ones that are not in that would be the ones that do. So we get this result. Now, can we make any conclusions? Well, we could say that if we are confident that all the receipts do match out with invoices, the only solution which includes all 3 receipts is this one. And so that would suggest that the open items are the 959, 692, etc. So let's bear that in mind, but we will now try a different approach. So this time we select the bottom grouping, which is going to give us each individual matching as opposed to the largest grouping, which nets to 0. And so we click on next and calculate. So what can we see here? Well, if we look at these groupings, 1, 5, and 7 involve only one receipt matching up invoices. All the other involve more than one. So it seems likely that those are the relevant solutions. But let's go and try to show it a bit more clearly. So if we open the CSV file and apply some consistent formatting, then we said, well, we think it's 1 and 5 and 7. But can we see that a bit more clearly? Well, if we try selecting everything and sorting by those 3 columns, then there's a slightly clearer picture, isn't it? We see there's no overlapping going on here, and so it's pretty likely that those are indeed the open items. Now, there is another approach which is particularly relevant if your lists get longer and longer, and that is to apply the sum to 0 at the bottom level using only one receipt at a time. So for that, we go back. Here is our input. Now, you can just set any line to 0 and it will be ignored, but given that we will want to use these amounts later, an alternative approach is to just put a very large number in front of them, which will not possibly net off, and therefore they will be stored for when we do need them when we come back. So there they are, very large numbers. And here that receipt is matched off with those invoices. So we can now go and remove those from the entry and rerun. So the 98671, which we can now remove because we really don't want to include that again. the 67346, the 109.87. Mustn't forget to remove that side as well, and then we can get rid of that. And so we have discovered this receipt nets off against those numbers. So 813.35, 720.02, 581.26, 491.69, and 212.54. We also take out that side, and we bring this back to a meaningful number. Go next, do calculate. And here we have our final answer. So that receipt nets off with those invoices, and the open items are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 above. So 4 different approaches to achieve the same thing. As I say, you will sometimes need more than one approach when solving a given reconciliation. Here is a summary of those 4 methods in the order that we have been through them. As you can see, the last one took the longest time, but is the most likely to give an answer. So you will have to use your judgment and sometimes experiment with different approaches.